246. And if you are truly searching for the path to the truth and to the teaching of the prophets, then do not reach for the truth submissively, but freely and victoriously in yourselves, and do not allow yourselves to be sold for a small price of belief by the believers in God and believers in tin gods, so that you continue to follow the untruthfulness and delusion of a fabulated, invented God or tin God made up by people of your kind, human beings. And do not allow yourselves to continue to be seduced by false signs, false evidence, and pictures, images of gods / images of tin gods, and figures, cult statues / statues of gods / statues of tin gods, or entities, cult objects, of the priests and other servants' hands / helpers, of the god cults and tin god cults, which are unsubstantiated, invented by people of your kind, human beings. 247. Those amongst you who are searching for the truth and the teaching of the prophets, or you who have already found it, be open at all times to it and compete in the steadfastness of learning, so that you may become more knowing and wiser, and may lead your existence in accordance with the laws and recommendations of creation, and so that you may be continuously on your guard and afeared for the doings of those who deal with belief in gods and tin gods, so that it may go well with you. Chapter 4. 1. O, you people of your kind, human beings, do not be afraid of the truth, neither of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of all life creation, because only in them is true love and equitableness, fairness. 2. You have been created in your origin from the wellspring of all life creation, and you have made yourselves companions as man and wife, and have multiplied. Heed one another and be afraid of doing none right to one another, so that you may be good to one another and make requests instead of issuing commands. Uphold the bonds of relationship between one another, because both as woman and as man you have entered into life as people of your kind, human beings. Therefore amongst you the only differences are the body, sex, and the nature, world of thought / world of feeling / character, actions and behavior, feelings, the power, the attraction, charms, and the ability of pregnancy. Truly, as woman and man are an inequality difference in these things, yet in existence they have common duties and rights, so that neither the man shall stand above the woman in any things, nor the woman above the man. And just as man and woman undertake the same work, so they shall receive their wages equally, so that neither the man nor the woman is paid more than the other for the same labors. 3. Truly, equitableness, fairness, is when man and woman grant each other the same duties and rights, although it shall be rightful for the one party who has the greater proficiency and empowerment for certain duties and rights to be involved more for these. 4. And it is rightful that sexual intercourse between man and woman shall only be permitted if consent is granted. If, however, the woman or the man is induced into sexual intercourse by gewalt, then a defilement violation is carried out, which shall be prosecuted by right and law with the fulfillment of guidelines punishment. 5. And as you create descendants, it shall be done in the measure of insight rationality, so that the standard measure of the number of all people's humankind does not degenerate in immoderateness, overpopulation, and the world and its weathers, the appearance, nature, and all life on earth do not suffer great and lasting damage, destruction of the environment / destruction of the climate / extinction of forms of life / wars / crimes, etc. Therefore, the recommendation of insight rationality and of control over extent is given for obedience following, so that no calamity may come over you and your world. Consequently, it is recommended that you keep yourselves within bounds, limits, and monitor the standard measure of the number of all peoples, and that you carry out a measurement census every certain number of years, so that the measure of all inhabitants of earth does not become too great and remains within the number of the maintainable, supportable, without leading to harm. 529 million. 6. And if you have orphans, then give them their possessions which belong to them, and do not exchange good things for bad, and do not live off steal their possessions in order to combine them with your own, because such actions are non-rightful and despicable, and mark you out as unfair ones, irresponsible ones, and non-righteous ones, conscienceless ones, if you do them. 7. If you are afraid of not being fair to orphans and of doing wrong towards them, then learn from the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of love creation, and from the teaching of truth of the true prophets, which path you must take and what actions you must use in order to be fair to the orphans. And if there are orphans who can be taken by people in union, married couple, or by a woman or man alone as their own adopted, then it is rightful for the children to be rightfully provided with everything necessary and given instruction, education, which shall be inspected, checked by the authority. If there are half-orphans, without a father or mother, then do a noble deed and take the half-orphans to be your own when you enter into a bond marriage with the mother or the father, so that the children may have a true father or a true mother in love. And if you join with Mary, the mothers or the fathers of half-orphans, then behave equally towards the children without any difference, as if you had begot them yourselves. If, however, you have to fear that you act inequitably, then do not enter into either the bond marriage, or taking the children as your own, adopting them, because that is the simplest way for you to avoid non-right. 8. And if you have orphans who are living in places for orphans, orphanages, or for whom you are caring, foster parents, and who are growing up with you and are provided for and brought up by you, then care for them until they have grown out of youth, grown up. And if you perceive understanding and obligation, responsibility, with them in good measure in all things when they have grown up, come of age, then issue them with their possessions so that they may decide what to do with them themselves, and take care that you do not swindle them by claiming the orphans' possessions for your own. However, also make sure that the orphans, when they have grown out of their youth, grown up, and come to their possessions, do not consume them hastily or wastefully, and it is rightful, if the orphans inherit great wealth from their parents, the parents of their parents, grandparents, or the godparents, sponsors, for the places for orphans are you as foster parents to live on it according to equitableness, endorsement/fairness. If, however, the places of orphans or you as foster parents are wealthy, then it is rightful for the orphans' possessions not to be used, and when you give the orphans their possessions, have witnesses in their presence, and also have the issue of the possessions recorded in an accreditation receipt, which is sufficient for the reckoning. 9. Indeed, if you consume the possessions of orphans unrightfully, then you are only swallowing fire and smoke, and you will burn with flaming fire in your insides when your admonishment conscience calls you to account. 10. And you, man and woman, who are in a bond marriage, give one another voluntarily and benevolently gifts of thanks for this and that, whether it be an embrace, a flower, a caress, or whatever else that speaks of thanks and love and respect. In the bond marriage, share everything out of your own free will amongst yourselves, and enjoy everything as delight and pleasure in mutual inclination. 11. And if you have irrational ones, deranged/feeble-minded ones, amongst you, then you shall not allow them to conjoin marry, neither shall you yourselves enter into a bond with them. And if you are the keepers of irrational ones, deranged/feeble-minded ones, then do not entrust them with your goods and fortune for their welfare, but nourish them with it and clothe them and speak friendly words to them, just as you shall be helpful with advice and deeds.